Hello, my name is Adam Winrich, 32-time Guinness World Record holder for whip cracking, but also 4-time world champion for whip cracking. I'm right now at home in Fall Creek, Wisconsin, where most of my stuff resides at my dad's house, and I dug out all the belt buckles that I won in my competitions. And this video isn't really about trying to brag about the prizes that I've won. I thought it'd be fun to reminisce about each experience and share with you something I learned from each experience that I think might help other people out there, or at least be interesting to hear about. Let's see, so first let me set this belt down before it falls down. And let's just go through the years. Let's see, so I do have 4 belt buckles here. All right, so we got 2006, and then it's 2010, 11, and 2013. So let's start with this one. I'll lay down the other ones. All right, so this is from the old Wild West Arts Club convention. Other people in the whip world out there, like Paul Nolan or Chris Camp, well, I guess that's the only guys I can think of right now. Jerry Deere, it's also a whip cracker that used to go. So the old Wild West Arts Club was a great convention. I only got to go 3 times in 2005, 6, and 7. And so with this, the lesson learned, and I'll repeat this again when I'm done babbling about this one. The lesson learned is whenever you can, always hang out with people that are better than you. It's going to rub off and it's going to help. So particular, this year, 2006, this was the year that Ben Hughes came over to the United States for the Wild West Arts Club competition. And Ben won several of the competitions. This buckle is actually for the speed and accuracy competition, which had a pretty solid field of competitors. So to back up a little bit, I guess with the Wild West Arts Club convention, they didn't really call any of their competitions a world championship. However, they did have people from around the world. In particular, this year, you had Ben Hughes and his dad from Australia. There were people from Sweden, the Czech Republic, all over the United States. So there was a really solid field of competitors. And this was for the speed and accuracy competition. And I really want to spend time with Ben Hughes to get better at two-handed whip cracking. So I was his chauffeur the whole time. I got to hang out a lot, got to make friends with Ben and his dad, learn a lot of whip cracking. We were out practicing all the time. Got the cops called on us once because we were practicing in the median of a road of the highway going out of Claremore, Oklahoma, which is where the competition was. And someone thought it was fireworks. And the cops came by and they didn't care that it was whip cracking. And mostly, that was a great experience. I got a little bit of Ben Hughes to rub off on me. So Ben won the, I think he won, I think the single whip, double whip competitions and the sort of showcase competition. And then because I think Fiona Wilkes, also a very famous Australian female whip cracker, she had come over earlier and then called all of her awards world champions or world championships. So then Ben called himself 3-time world champion because he won 3 of those competitions at Claremore, Oklahoma. Even though the organizers didn't call it that, but enough other people have called it that, I think I can call it that. People from around the world were represented. So 2006 world champion, speed and accuracy. Again, always hang out with people that are better than you. Seek them out, spend time with them. It'll do you some good. So let's move on here. Now, sadly, the Wild West Arts Club folded in 2007. So that was a real bummer. It let a lot of people down. So there was kind of a vacuum for competitions. So then a guy named Dr. Buck, who was mostly a sort of events organizer and promoter and kind of stuntman, he got in with the Single Action Shooting Society and created an organization called the WPAS, WWPAS, and that's what the next 3 buckles are from. So this set of beautiful buckles is from 2010, and the lesson from these buckles is never underestimate the element of surprise. Surprise can be very important, especially when you're trying to impress people. If their expectations are really high, then it's hard to impress them. But they don't know who you are, and they don't know what to expect, and you surprise them with something really good, then bam, it can pay off. So I guess no one at the WPAS event really knew who I was from the Wild West Arts Club convention, or I hadn't really been around, but I had started working Renaissance festivals and practicing a lot, so definitely my skills and my showmanship had improved since the last Wild West Arts Club convention in 2007. So I really did surprise them and impress them. And so that year I won, let's see, there's 3 buckles here. Let's see, this is a world champion knife thrower, even though it wasn't a real big competition. And of course, world champion whip cracker, and then best all-around performer. Really great buckle. I was surprised to win that one. Very lucky to win it. I did not win it the next year because Ryder Kisner was ready for me, and he put in a lot of work. And Ryder, if you know him, is an amazing performer and at everything, guns, whips, ropes. So if you haven't looked up Ryder Kisner, look up Ryder. But again, the lessons from 2010, never underestimate the element of surprise. Now let's move on to 2011. So I didn't end up with 3 belt buckles this time. Ryder won Best All-Around Performer this time around. And I did win a knife throwing belt buckle that looks just like this one. I don't know where it is right now. And I would say the main lesson from my 2011 World Championship is always stay humble. Don't get too big for your britches. No matter how big you are, there's always something else to learn, someone better than you, something that's hard to understand. So it never pays to like be too cocky. And I definitely, I made a couple decisions that I would say was like, why did I do that? That was so dumb. Because I was like, I won last year. I'm the big man in the room. And like, no, that didn't help me at all. I just stay humble and be interested in people and enjoy making friends. That's the really important thing. So in 2011, always stay humble. Let's see, I think over to the last one. Now, this is 2013 whoop ass. So you notice we skipped a year. It went 2010, 11, and now 13. So they actually only had 4 whoop ass conventions. It was 2009, and then 10, 11. They skipped 12, and then 13. I think at this point, the Single Action Shooting Society wasn't supporting whoop ass anymore, or the guy that was in the Single Action Shooting Society had passed away, so it didn't have as much support. So they sort of moved it to instead of being in December of the year, they moved it to the next spring, and they had it at Old Tucson Studios. And honestly, with the performance I put together, I really don't have any memories about competing, but all I can say is that, I had something profound to say for this. It was more like the people that you meet are the most important thing. The interactions you have with the people, in particular, like my 2, I guess, or 3 best memories of going to this competition in Tucson and being at Old Tucson Studios. 2 of them were just getting to see Calvin Cook. Calvin Cook is a brilliant lasso spinner and gun spinner and whip cracker, and quite a character. He's definitely got that Oklahoma charm. And it was 2 things. I remember seeing him just messing around, entertaining some families that were there, and he had some kids running around him, and he was like moving around, doing his lasso tricks, then trying to lasso the kids. And eventually one kid got called over, Timmy, come over here for your inhaler. And Cowboy Cal was a little bit out of breath, and he was like, is that Buterol? Give me a shot at Buterol. And I don't know, I just thought it was so funny to be so specific and interact with those people in a way. I thought, is that Buterol? So funny to me. And then also Ryder Kisner was at this competition, and Ryder really cleaned house. I think he also won the knife throwing at this competition. But Cowboy Cow was teasing Ryder with some little rope trick where you like make a little loop, tie it around your finger, and act like you're gonna put the end right through the loop, but it's a little sleight of hand thing. And then the other experience I had was I was the chauffeur for a German performer that came over, and he would not pronounce it Tucson. He kept pronouncing it Tucson. If any of you have ever been to Germany, you might notice if it's a 2-syllable word, they always make that last syllable really short. Like I went to Bremen one time for Germany's Got Talent, and I was like Bremen, but there was Bremen. It was like that wasn't even a 2-syllable word anymore. So anyway, the people at these events, that's the most important thing. Probably the most important thing about going to any of these events is getting to watch other performers and just share your love for the Old West skills. So it's more important to do that and make friends than to win, even though I did manage to win this buckle that time. And now 2013, this is like 10 years old. So you may be wondering, like, Adam, did you give up whip cracking? Did your shoulder crap out? What happened? Well, what happened was this was the last whoop ass convention. And then, so there's another vacuum. So I created a whip cracking convention in Los Angeles, which is going to be in 2024 and 2024, January 6th in McCambridge Park in Burbank. I'll have more information about that forthcoming, especially on Facebook. And so there wasn't any place to go to do a whip cracking competition. So I started my own whip cracking competition in Burbank. And then we actually created world championship belt buckles for that. Since I put it on, I'm not going to compete in it. So I've bought and given away world champion belt buckles to, let's see, Ian Cameron and Danny Shaw and Leo Maxwell. So they've kind of spread it out. And each one of those guys are great guys, definitely deserving of a world champion belt buckle. So I suppose that kind of makes it go full circle. Like I've won buckles, and then now I become the one who puts on the events and gives out the belt buckles. Well, that's my TED Talk. Adam Winrich, 4-time world champion whip cracker. Thanks for watching.